Hello, my beautiful lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. This is Choi Leaves Tarot, where we get to your greatness one tea leaf at a time. Let's just jump right in. This is a timeless collective message. So smash that like button, hit that follow, and let's get started. All right. So let's just get into it because this is a channeled specific message for you. All signs, take what resonates, leave behind what doesn't. But this is specifically, I'm going to do a bunch today. So if you see any of the other ones, you can mix and match. But this specifically, the first one you saw, is your main vibe. All right. So let's just get into it. What is coming in from the universe, love, life, career for you? These want to pop out so quick. So let's just get started. Whoa, whoa. All right. This is looking great. First and foremost, true love, but you got to take that leap of faith. We've already got a true love is coming in, not the person you're with, because if it was the person you were with, you would basically you would have to like choose the right person. This wouldn't have shown up, right? Two of Swords, peace and harmony, needing to take the blindfold off. Keep reassessing the situation at hand. So you might be in a situationship or a life debate. Like you might be like, what is my path? And universe is like, you need to take that leap of faith, but away from what you are used to. So we have, look at this. It's like a power couple coming in, Two of Cups, peace of mind, joining of two people. This is a very like-minded person. This is someone who shares your value system. They're willing to sacrifice for the betterment of their values. Like they're not the ones sleeping around, for example. They can sacrifice not going out and partying to be like at their highest self, not to be addicted, not to be generational curses, stuff like that. You're gonna see in how they carry themselves. They're not easily attracted to bad things for their health, their wealth. And it's not necessarily bad, because something bad to someone is something good to someone, but just like in the normal, sane sense of things, okay? So peace of mind, joining of two people. So this is a true soulmate coming in, but this is only once you take a leap of faith in your career, or, moving away from that relationship that just makes you like have to step back to be like, okay, I can undo my hands and take off my blindfold. It's so simple. You are not like, this isn't a zip tie situation of a person. This is literally, you see, she has the kind of like the autonomy to still unwrap her hands, put her swords down, and take the eye blindfold off, really. Okay, you see, no tape on it, nothing. You're just choosing to not see what's in front of you. If you do that, you're not going to get your soulmate. So this is where that leap of faith comes, the Fool. Good friends, happiness, needing to take a giant leap forward. So you kind of are like, oh, I'm feeling bummy. I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to join that book club. I don't want to join a pottery class. I don't want to do my hobbies and actually tap into society. I want to stay online and be lazy and do whatever. No, 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 no. Universe is like, girl, snap out of it. Guys, snap out of it. Stop watching what's online. There's a lot of nutcases on there, or a lot of great, fantastical, like fantasies. So somewhere in the middle is what's really happening, right? So that means, okay, there are a lot of people's mindsets shifting due to the internet fringes, but you have to take a leap of faith on your own career and leveling up, so that when you are in spaces that have more sane people, more, less just capitalistic drive, less warmongers, less, like you're like, I just like regenerative farming. Maybe you started a garden at your house, even if it's like buying 2 or 3 plants from Aldi or something and making sure they're, heirlooms and not, any glyphosate or GMO modified. Maybe you're starting something so small, but it's a huge leap of faith for how you see what nature and what food and relationships with food and the environment is, in that sense. Like you're realizing, didn't you see like so many beaches, for especially if you see this around Labor Day weekend, there are so many beaches shut down right now because there's human fecal matter in there. People are like weirdly not caring about the infrastructure. And I'm not talking about you or other people like on the small scale. I'm talking about the lobbyists who pay the politicians who pocket it, and they use the money for genocides and war, but they don't use it for like the infrastructure. You know, we've seen that happen where the dam broke and there was major flooding in Katrina just 20 years ago, right? And then up to all the like Palisades resources. Like you saw, I think it was like one or two families. It was a couple who owned like some of the biggest brands of, you know, either pomegranates or whatever. You could look it up. They own 90% of the waterway rights agriculturally. So imagine that didn't go to the the fire station to hose down before everything burned on fire, basically. There was just like, water is just not being proportionate. It's going toward capitalistic agriculture or XYZ. Meanwhile, if you look up, like, for example, California, they're using human sewage and like toxins and whatever is in there that isn't washed out, sludge, as gardening, and they call it food safe. No, it's not. Actually, everyone's becoming more and more carcinogenic, issues hormonally, XYZ. So you're like, nah, I'm taking the blindfold off, and I want my soulmate to also see that this is happening in the world. My relationship to food and land and whatever. So I know that, okay, I can either vote with my foot, vote for real, or like, you know, vote with your dollar. That's very important. When you make mutual aid communities and you start meeting people where they're at, you start realizing, wow, if I go to like a farmer's market or not those big box stores that fund these things and don't care about where they're getting their food and their plants and all of that is like toxic, you know, because we end up eating that. We're the runoff. We're just, you know, and then guess what? You get sick. And who gets money again? Again, the politicians who fund it, or the lobbyists who are pharma lobbyists and XYZ. So you're like, this is just turning into a circle. The Venn diagram doesn't even exist anymore at this point. So you taking that leap forward is like, you know what, let me go to wherever and get an organic seedling and plant it. And then maybe you join different book clubs that have to do with recipes using your heirloom figs or, you know, tomatoes or rosemary, and maybe you meet people who are like-minded, and that is probably where you're gonna meet your soulmate. It's something you're passionate about, something that you're like, instead of moving toward everything autonomous, we want some things that are handmade, artisanal, people genuinely not like being replaced by robots all the time. You're like the sense of community or the breakdown of family, you're not falling for that. So this is Two of Cups, peace of mind, joining of two people. All right, so again, the Lovers card, this is someone who's going to, it's you to you first. You fall in love with your humanity, what you bring to the table, what you love about yourself, and you find out how to make it so fun, how to bring out your artistic side, whether you have your own nail salon and you just have passion in your work, and it makes one person be like, I love coming to get my nails done with you because you care about me, or you care about, you know, society, your local, your XYZ, and then they might not choose all the time. You know, sometimes it's fun to get the glue on or whatever, but maybe you don't use UV rays that like give carcinogenic effects or UV exceptional poisoning or something. But at some point, it's like your artistry speaks beyond that. And so they don't go and buy like fast fashion nails or something like that. You bring the service back into the service industry, something caring, the artistry back to real stuff, so that people are like, I don't really want like just everything at home. Why are we in like little cages, which is your homes or your place of work, cubicles, XYZ? You're like, you know what, I want to be as creative. So maybe you already have a 9 to 5. This could be your extracurricular activities, fun. And look at this, Lovers card, love affairs, romance, building again within marriage, relationship, relatives, loving relationship you could share with a friend. So this is just like-minded community. This is community at the bigger scale, like you're joining like not a cult, not a weird, like, whatever. You don't need to do anything religious, none of that. I'm just talking about literally hobbies. What are your hobbies? What do you want to learn? What do you think that corporations are trying to stamp out with all their AI, ChatGPT, water, data? Have you seen those data processors wasting up water? Oh, that's what I was saying about the ocean. There was a lot of fecal matter in the beaches this weekend. So that all comes down to water quality and sludge. And what is happening is that the sewage is running off into the ocean or the waterways because it's overtaxed. That means there's way too many people in that city, or they haven't fixed, infrastructure in at least 20 years. So things are getting ready to break down, except for if you care enough and you're part of a community and it's local. So you maybe buy your cheese from a local regenerative farm. Maybe you go to the peach or apple picking this summer or this winter, fall, whenever it's in season in your town. And you genuinely might meet people who are also trying, food over there in line. Maybe somebody in line is really nice and is like, wow, I like your shirt. Maybe you can give a compliment. People love compliments. And you genuinely see the beauty in things. So why not practice being a human? You know what I mean? Like, everybody's doing that, and the ChatGPT is trying to mimic humanity, but it's not getting it right. You have an extra sauce, special sauce. Do not, hide your excellence from the world. And everybody should feel like, okay, we're getting back into small little communities. Maybe you have a special book you like, and you're like, okay, who wants to join this? And you all make sense. And it's not like a huge one, obviously, if you're going too political or too whatever, which is smart. But there are always going to be ops that listen in and can dox or whatever. You're always cognizant on stuff like that, right? Like, you use your common sense, but start out cooking. Cooking is political act in itself, because there's always that woman should be in the kitchen, or woman should not be in the kitchen, or man should be in the kitchen, or as a chef, or whatever. There's always so many things. But guess what? Both people like food. Both people like greatness. And a lot of people know food is love, making it from the heart, but also using hygienic standards, but also using cool techniques and community building, right? Brings me back to the fable of stone soup. So somebody had one stone and they were like, hey, I got a pot. It's like a potluck, right? Except the potluck part, because people and their cats and dogs are all over you don't know what's in people's kitchens. But at the very least, let's say it's a potluck in the sense of, you at least know where you're getting your herbs from. You know where you're getting your tomatoes from. It's not from some rotten place in let's say California, that uses sludge for their gardening, because there's this one family that uses all of the water, but there's still toxins in it, or there's glyphosate. It's basically how can you find locally to keep the skills alive of the people who know how to make honey, food, XYZ, so that you're not going to huge conglomerates, because at the end of the day, they're going to try to control access to your food. You see around the world, they do that. There's huge people in power. They'll be like, sorry, we're blockading your food. There's an embargo. There's this. There is a lot of weird ish happening. And the control is something that at least in America, people do not want to give up, in a good reason. Because why? If they control your food, your home, your family, your dynamics, and your mind, they got too much rental space in your head, then that's not really community. You touching grass, going outside, looking what's there, and adding your, je ne sais quoi, your charm, your love of humanity, your day-to-day cooking skills. Maybe you wrote a cookbook, a poetry, whatever you want to contribute, do it, okay? Three of Wands, travel overland, surveying your kingdom. So this is a special message for you, because you are not liking what you see in the past. The exes, the jobs, you're basically finding out you probably are about to be unemployed, or are unemployed, in a sense that you want your own company, and your employers are maybe funding the whole military industrial complex, or just the bad food, or bad habits, or bad things that are helping the social breakdown of the world. And you're like, I don't actually want that. Actually, I have a lot of brain power. And the best thing is to start like the side, it's kind of like a parallel world is starting to rise, and you're going to be part of that. Like, what is actually going to happen? We're not going to be in this hamster wheel of work and then not be appreciated, but also let 1% own everything and extract. So you're not falling for the okie doke. You don't like it. You're like, I'm opting out. This is like, how phones and telephones get OS updates or whatever? Civilization has not had an update for the last, like, let's say since like the early 19th century, okay? So something has happened where we've been on a loop over and over, and all they do is change the interface or how we interface with this truth, but they keep extracting capital and making consumerism, but also trying to make labor like something they could throw away. Like, no, we need more profit margins. Let's get cheaper labor. Let's outsource. Let's now go to AI. Let's now get robots. Forget humanity. It could be 8 people as long as everyone's like, making us rich. It's like 8 people at the top at this point. 4 of Cups, money fluctuations, being offered something you may not want. Yep. And you're like, I don't want that. I want a lot of money, but I also want, a house, a place to live, amazing. You don't want to keep playing feudal lord over and over where you pay taxes on property tax and you never get to own anything. You never, you're always one lien or one late payment mortgage away before the state gets to eminent domain it or takings clause it. So look those up and be like, you know what? Actually, I want to eat healthy. I want to eat wealthy. Health is wealth. I want to kind of tap out of that system, build a better world, and I can start at my house in terms of like maybe you're bringing one little rosemary leaf to your house to see if you can season your food that week with it. And you're gonna be like, you know what? That's amazing. I could trade that with my friend who has bay leaves or whatever. Right? So King of Swords, man over 25 years, brown eyes and brown hair, cold, abrasive, demands respect. Yep. This is you. Like, your communication is going to be peak. You're about to like demand authority in the sense of demanding respect from like the government, the community, the whatever. You're really like, nah, we are going to make a abundant society. There's enough to go around for everyone. I am not with the scarcity mindset, politicians mindset. So what I'm going to do is you're going to go to like, your book clubs. You're going to start your little business and it's going to blossom, but you don't want it to get huge. You're like, nah, because that's when they swoop in. This is a little business for a reason. Little but mighty, right? It's going to be like a shifter in the portal. Basically, you're going to be helping the paradigm shift move forward, and you're still going to be wealthy. You're still going to get everything you desire. So write out your list of everything you desire, and from there, it's going to be a lot of like, if you think about like little provinces, there's going to be 1 billion little provinces instead. It's going to have to be a lot of little communities so that there's not one big panopticon, one big like 15-minute city stalking surveillance state, right? So it's like, don't let them do that. So when you have so many people in different communities, they can't be like, this group of people thinks like this. I'm gonna, audience capture it. I'm gonna capture their minds. When there's so many different mindsets, but people all stand up on like, nah, I like this little community of 30 people that I always see book and have little dinners with and XYZ. We're happy in our little bubble. So we don't want to give up and go to a 15-minute city. We don't want to be surveilled in that type of social credit score type of vibe. So really what's happening is if 1 billion of those pop up, the oligarchs can't really just tie everybody's data together. You become undeniable, kind of like, a real force that can run ancillary to what's happening right now, where it's like never-ending capitalism for the sake of destruction of humanity. So you're like, okay, look at this. It says regret. I know that I cannot change the past. Exactly. Who cares if you woke up today, literally 20 minutes ago, when you woke up, your third eye is open, okay? As long as you're here, you are ready for this. Do not regret that. Just be like, okay, well, the past is the past. What am I going to do about it? All I could do is start today and go forward. Maybe you got brainwashed with the propaganda. Maybe you didn't. And you're like, you know what? I don't have, oh, look at this. It all comes down to freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. There you go. That is literally the message of the hour. Okay, period. Like and subscribe. Let me also get you another thing. So don't fear any of that. Let me also get you a tea leaf message card. Universe, what else does the collective need to know at this minute? Wow, it says sometimes the only things made in America is the American. So that is literally you. I got this the other time too. It's like everyone else might be, you know, AI. It's not man-made. Maybe if you're in America. So if you're in another country, you know, look around. How many things are local? Go get local food. Same thing with America. Maybe you're like, okay, well, I'm American, so period. Let me go get something from someone else who has that, or let me offer this service, because somebody's going to be like looking for a local person who gets what type of diseases, what type of foods you eat, what you're interacting with daily as a native, right? Or whatever, born and raised, or whatever they want to, like, there's going to be a thing where people are going back to kind of the basics of everything. Oh, let's also get your tea leaf message. This will speed up the process for your illumination. Ooh, okay, paradigm shift. Fun time. You're supposed to have fun doing this. So anytime you feel like stressed, or you're overthinking it, or you're getting cynical or nihilist, you know, you're not a nihilism person, so that's not going to happen. So this is digestive. It's literally mint lime mixed with rosemary. What did I just tell you about rosemary? Period. Okay, like rosemary and melissa. So that's lemon balm. So this is a gorgeous little mix of tea. It's for fun. It's genuinely going to aid your digestion of these big concepts that you're going to bring into a micro from the macro. Huge, big picture. You're bringing it to smaller, bite-sized pictures, and everything starts looking doable. All right? So until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.